bit. Well, good morning, St. John's. Today is All Saints Sunday, and in case you did not know it, that is a big deal. So good for you for coming to church today. You have heard me say before that we Episcopalians hold to the old ways. We celebrate the old feasts. And yes, we crown our year with Christmas and Easter just like all the other Christians around the world, but we also celebrate the other old high holy days too. Days like Epiphany and Pentecost and Trinity Sunday, and days like today, when we remember the saints of yesterday and the saints of today, and we recall the fact that we, who are also the saints of God, live our lives surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. If you come here today and sit in these pews, or if you come up here and kneel or stand for communion at this table, and you do not imagine this place filled with angels and archangels and all the company of heaven pulling the rafters open and looking down and praying with us and walking along the pews and sitting among us, angels and archangels and people like Blessed St. John and St. Mary and St. Francis and St. Patrick and St. Joan of Arc and all of those people, if you don't think of all of that while we're sitting here, including also your own loved ones who have gone before us, your mama and your daddy and your meemaw and your great aunt Tilly, all who have loved Christ in the ages past, if you don't imagine this place filled with all of that right here, right now, then you're doing it wrong. So go ahead and get your imaginative juices flowing, your spiritual heart pumping, because it is All Saints Sunday, y'all. A few months ago, I read a book by a British priest and theologian named Sam Wells, and in just a few pages, he wrote about the difference between being a hero and being a saint. Because you see, there is a difference, and I think we very often get the two confused. Many times we think that saints are supposed to be heroes. But as Father Wells puts it, we are not called to be heroes, but we are called to be saints. He says that the word hero does not appear even one time in the entire New Testament, but the word saint, well, it occurs 64 times. What's the difference? Well, here it is. Number one, when we tell stories about heroes and saints, look at who stands at the center of the story. I remember being a kid, long time ago, watching something on like PBS, and there was this guy, he was a bonsai master, worked on the little trees, and he was being interviewed by someone while he was working on one, he was potting it. And the interviewer said, well, why don't you put the bonsai in the very middle of this pot? It's a beautiful pot, but you've got it over to the side. And he says, oh, no. You never put the bonsai in the center. And she said, why not? And he said, because the center is where God sits. You don't put the bonsai in the center. The center is where God sits. I've always remembered that. And it makes me think of what Father Wells says about the difference between heroes and saints. See, heroes are always at the center of their own story. They step up at just the right time. They make just the right decision. They make everything turn out okay. The story is all about them. But saints are never the center of their own story. In fact, they can be almost invisible, easily missed, quickly forgotten. For all the saints whose names we know and we call them Saint so-and-so because their stories have been handed down to us over history, there are millions of others whose names we will never know, but who are treasured in the heart of God. The hero's story is always about the hero, but the saint is always at the periphery because in their lives, the story is really actually about God. God is the one who sits at the center. Number two, you can tell the difference between a hero and a saint based on why their story is even told. Heroes are people whom we see as decisively strong or winsome or beautiful or cunning or courageous or wise. The truth is, a saint may be any of those things, but they might also be none of them. There are some saints whose stories I love, like St. Jerome, because everybody knew that that dude was just meaner than a snake. And yet, he was a scholar and he did all this biblical work and theological work, and his story has been handed down to us and is just proof that you don't even have to be nice to be a saint. We don't tell the stories of the saints to celebrate that they were nice or winsome or strong or beautiful or cunning or courageous or wise. We tell the stories of the saints to celebrate the fact that they were faithful. God does not need you to be strong or winsome or beautiful or cunning or courageous or wise. All God has ever asked of you is faithfulness. You can manage that. Number 3, heroes see the world as a world of scarcity. They go off and they fight the good fight because life, safety, goods, everything is in short supply, and there's only so much to go around, and so they've got to go and fight for it, for us. But the saint sees the world differently. As Father Wells puts it, they don't need to fight over competing goods because they know that Christ has already fought for and secured the true good. And the goods that matter now are not limited or in short supply. Love, joy, peace, faithfulness, gentleness. These things do not rise or fall with the stock market. Whereas the icon of heroism is the soldier, the icon of sainthood is the martyr. And the difference is that the soldier faces death in battle, but the martyr faces death by not going to battle. Number 4, there's what happens when everything goes wrong. See, we don't like our heroes to lose. The whole point of a hero is that they're supposed to be the ones who are supposed to intervene at just the right time and make the story come out just right. If the hero fails, everything fails. But not so with the saint. A true saint expects to fail. If the saint's failures are honest ones, they merely highlight the wonders of God's mercy, grace, and love. Father Wells says, a hero fears failure, avoids it at all costs, but the saint knows that light only comes through the cracks, and that there is as much beauty, if not more, in forgiveness and restoration as there is in perfection. And finally, the biggest difference between a hero and a saint is that the hero stands alone against the world. They stand tall and apart from all the rest of us because they know the right answer. They know just what to say. They know just what to do. But over and over and over, the Bible is clear that in the hardest times, God expects a response from us that we cannot give on our own. Being a saint means that you know you rely on God and you know that you rely on one another. Christians do their best and most faithful work when we do it together. Of all those 64 references to saints in the New Testament, every single one of them is plural because y'all, saints, are never alone. So, my friends, congratulations, for you are also part of this great company. Whatever made you come to this place here today, you're leaving here with good news that you are loved and redeemed, and you are part of something so much bigger and more beautiful and eternal than yourself. Simply by virtue of your baptism, and by the way, we're about to welcome another saint into the fold in just a minute, little Samuel, but simply by virtue of all of our baptisms and your faith in Jesus Christ, who is our only true actual hero, you are a saint of God. Back when I was a kid growing up at Christ Church Valdosta, we would go raid the Burger Kings in town before Sunday and get the little Burger King crowns, and everybody would wear Burger King crowns in the middle of church because we all understood that we are saints of God. I did not do that to you this year, but there's always next year. If we really wanted to do it right, today and every day when we see each other at church or in the parish hall and offering hall or even out at Publix or Walmart or when we see each other across the street, we wouldn't just say, "Hi, Jim." We'd say, "Hi, Saint Jim," and Jim would say, "Hi, Saint Lonnie," because we are all part of the sainthood of God. Y'all, you do not have to be a hero. You do not even have to be particularly smart or strong or winsome or gifted or pretty or handsome. Tell us, Samuel, we know, or wise. All you have to do is step aside, give up on perfection, and enjoy letting God be the center of the story of your life. That's all it's about. Y'all, we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, and you are one too. Amen.